Valentina the Bullet Shevchenko. So I was really planning to spend the last 3 months over here at Bad Guy discussing Valentina Shevchenko. And I thought I could be a big asset. Like in my mind, I picture meeting Valentina for the first time. And her calling out my name as she attacks me with a great big hug, thanking me for all I have done for her in her career. That is how I see myself. Now, I don't know that I have ever said anything overly nice about the Bullet, other than to tell you that is one of the most successful athletes in our sports history, either division, men or women. But then I will use it as a jumping off point to tell you how surprised I am that an athlete with that level of success can't sell a ticket. And I don't do it to be a jerk. I do it saying, hey, we've got all the ingredients here. We just have to have a willingness. And my guess is that she's a heel. My belief is that it's an act. The sweet girl doing the dance and smiling, hugging mom and sister is an act. I don't know that. I haven't met her. But I don't mean it as an insult. From one bad guy who believes he sees another, I say it as an encouragement. So when Valentina went on The Ultimate Fighter, I believed that this was going to come out. The best actors, right? When some actor has a big movie coming out and they go sit on Jimmy Kimmel's couch, they don't come out as the actor that they play. They come out as themselves, and then they talk about a role that they did. Now, it would be a lot more effective if they stayed in character. Why don't they do it? Because nobody's that good of an actor. That's why. Nobody. None of them. Not even Ed Norton can go for 20 minutes in an unscripted interview on Jimmy Kimmel's couch and be in character. And Ed Norton might be the greatest thespian on screen today. They can go in 2 and 3 minute spurts with lines that they rehearsed that somebody else wrote, putting out emotions that are make-believe, which thus makes them an actor. If you could hold the gimmick for 20 minutes unscripted, that would not mean you're an actor. That would be the person who you are. And I share that for you because it's so relevant through The Ultimate Fighter. I thought, okay, it's going to come out. I believe I'm right. I believe we have a heel. And I believe, to an extent, I would make the comparison to Jon Jones, where the audience was seeing through and go, man, we don't want this pretend guy that you are. As a matter of fact, we want the real you. And the real cherry on top of the sundae of this statement, we're going to like it. We're going to like the real you. But you got to go first, and you got to show us. And I'm just sharing with you, thought The Ultimate Fighter would be a place for Valentina to do it. And one thing that I understood when Valentina accepted that role, and this is me, the critic from the outside that watches. I can't make too many pieces on her because they don't draw. You guys don't click on them. You don't engage. You don't go to my comments. It's one of these things where if I'm going to be making headlines, and when I say I and I'm personalizing it, Chael, I'm talking about for all media. One of the reasons the media doesn't cover, which is when they all go hand in hand. If you can't get the media, you can't get the coverage. Money follows attention. If you don't have one, you don't have the other. If you don't have both, you don't get to go to the main event. It's one of these interesting spots where there is actually a quantifiable reason that nobody in history has had more world title fights in more non-main events. Are you ready for that? That's an actual accurate stat. There has never been somebody have as many world title fights and not do them in a main event. So it's cause for study. It's cause to sit back and look at it and go, okay, what happened here? And I felt like with the admittance of The Ultimate Fighter, I was going to be covering this a lot. And a few things that I knew. And this is over here from the cheap seats on somebody that's not in a headline, and I still knew the opponent was going to be Grasso. The event was going to be Noche. I believe Noche means Independence Day, and I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. I knew the weight class. I knew the rule set. I knew the venue. And I share that with you guys because that was just shy of a year ago, and I knew all of those things. They weren't easy things to find. And I still knew them. So, as this fight's gotten closer, there's no announcement that that fight is on the card. There's no headline or discussion or rumor anywhere that it's been lost. There is 2 fights that are rumored for the card. Neither win are this, but Alexa Grasso, our champion, does say that she's part of it. And she is now called for somebody else. And Thug Rose, who is well aware of the division, is going against Fiore and is calling for that spot. So now you got 2 people. You got two great contenders. which instantly would be swatted down because the announcement would come out. Now, what are you guys, crazy? We got Valentina is taking that spot. But nobody said that because Valentina's not taking the spot. And the story isn't that Valentina isn't taking the spot. The story is how, for 1 year and through the greatest marketing vehicle that the sport has ever seen, known as The Ultimate Fighter, has Valentina vacated that spot and nobody's discussed it. How? Has that never been a headline? How? I'm asking you guys, why haven't you talked about it? Why don't you care? Now, I didn't agree with the booking in the first place. I'll be the first to tell you. I was a hater on it. Say, hey, man, you guys have already been booked for 10 rounds. If you haven't figured things out now, right? I wasn't excited for the first 5 or the second 5. I'm going to have a hard time pretending to be excited for the third 5. But I'm sharing with you, that's me. I was a hater. So you got to kick me out, right? I'm on a curve. You got to kick my thought out. But then the fight falls apart and nobody even discusses it. I don't know why the fight fell apart. As a matter of fact, I asked some industry insiders. And I was very hesitant to speak on it if there was an illness or an injury. If there was an illness or an injury, I'd say, hey, I wish you well, and I would get right out. But there is no statement anywhere that I can find of illness or an injury. As a matter of fact, the only thing that I could find, and this is while talking to insiders, is that the Bullet isn't going to do the fight in Las Vegas. She will only do it in her home country. Now, I'm not reporting that for you guys. I'm not reporting. Getting information on the Bullet is wildly difficult. But I do remember her saying that. I do remember her talking about that. She said, hey, listen, we went to a decision. I thought I won that fight. And I think she got the nod because of the celebration that we're having. And I'm not mad at the Bullet for saying that. I thought the Bullet won that fight. I wasn't upset when Tyson Fury said that when he took on the opponent from Ukraine. But there's really not a situation where everything's going to be perfect. I can't think of one. I never fully understood the point of demanding that we go to a country where we have never held an event is going to happen for somebody who doesn't sell tickets, right? I mean, Conor McGregor didn't get a fight in Ireland as bad as he wanted to, and he makes money. So I've never fully understood it, but I also don't know what part of the scenario could be better. You knew the date, you knew the venue, you knew the opponent, you knew the weight class, you were given the opportunity, right? Not only did you not win your last fight, you didn't win the before that. Son of a bitch, I can't think of a main event. I can't think of anybody that's ever been given a title fight where in their last 2 fights, they didn't win one of them. I just can't. I'm going back to 1993. I mean, it would seem as though every exception has been made. Every stone has been uncovered. And I don't know that isn't the reason why she's not doing it. I fully admit that. That isn't even my story. My story isn't that she's not doing it. My story, my entire point and premise is how does one of the most successful fighters of all time, how does a current reigning #1 contender that just went through the greatest marketing vehicle this sport has ever, this industry has ever seen, how does that person fall out of a fight and absolutely nobody knew it?